Good morning, students. Today we are going to learn Unit 18 Organization of Life. Introduction. If you look around your surrounding, you will be able to observe numerous varieties of animals. Based on the structural organization, organisms can be classified into prokaryotes and eukaryotes. In some organisms like bacteria, cyanobacteria, and mycoplasma, the true nucleus is absent. These organisms are called prokaryotes. However, organisms like plants and animals have cells with a well-defined nucleus covered by membrane. These organisms are called eukaryotes. Some organisms have a single cell body and they are called as unicellular organisms. Example, yeast and amoeba. Organisms such as plants, animals and human beings are made of large number of cells and they are called multicellular organisms. In this lesson, let us learn about different level of organizations of living organism with suitable example. Cells. Cell is a structural and functional unit of life. Cells are often called as building blocks of the life. The study of cell is called cell biology. Cells consist of cytoplasm enclosed within a membrane which contains many biochemical molecules such as protein and nucleic acids. Cells vary widely in shape and size. There is a central spherical nucleus and a variety of cytoplasmic living organelles like endoplasmic reticulum, mitochondria, Golgi bodies, centrioles, ribosomes, lysosomes, etc. Size of the cell. The size of the cell varies in different animals and they were measured in units of micron. The cells of bacteria are the smallest in size, 1 to 2 micron. In human body, the smallest cell is red blood cells, 7 micron in diameter, and the longest one is nerve cells, which reaches a length of about 90 to 100 centimeter. Among multicellular animals, the largest cell is egg of an ostrich. Mycoplasma with a diameter of 0.001 millimeter is the smallest bacterium. Shapes of cells. Cells are of different shapes. Some cells are oval or round, while certain others are elongated. Some are branched like the nerve cells or a neuron. Some of our white blood cells are amoeba-like with irregular boundaries. Tissues. Tissues are group of cells that have a similar structure and act together to perform a specific function. They are of two types, simple tissue and complex tissue. Simple tissues are made up of cells of same type or kind. Example, glandular tissues. Complex tissues are made up of different kind of tissues. Example, tissues of dry skin. Types of tissues. Depending on the basis of their structure and function, tissues can be classified into four types. Epithelial tissues for protection, muscular tissue for movement and locomotion, connective tissue for binding different structures of body, nervous tissue for conduction of nerve impulse. Organ. Organs are the structures made up of two or more types of tissue organized to carry out a particular function. Example, brain, heart, lungs, kidney, liver, etc. Each of them has specific function. The eyes. The eye is one of the important sensory organ in human body. It is composed of muscular tissue, connective tissue and neural tissue. It is mainly responsible for vision, differentiation of colors and maintaining the biological clock of the human body. External structure of an eye. The part of the eye that are visible externally comprises of external structure of the eye. Sclerota. It is tough and thick white sheet that protect the inner parts of the eye. We know it is as white of the eye. Conjunctiva. It is a thin transparent membrane that is spread across the sclerota. It keeps the eye moist and clear by secreting small amount of mucus and tears. Cornea. It is a transparent layer of membrane that is spread over the pupil and the iris. Iris. It is a pigmented layer of tissue that make up the colored portion of the eye. Its primary function is to control the size of the pupil depending on the amount of light entering it. Pupil. It is a small opening located at the middle of the iris. It allows light to come in. Internal structure of an eye. The internal structure of the eye includes the following parts. Lens. It is a transparent, biconvex and an adjustable part of an eye made up of protein. The lens with the help of cornea reflects light which converges on the retina and creates image on it. Retina. It is the layer present at the back of the eye where all the images are formed. The retina functions by converting the light rays into impulses and sending the signals to the brain through the optic nerve. Optic nerve. It is located at the end of the eyes behind the retina. The optic nerve is mainly responsible for carrying all the nerve impulse from retina to the human brain. Aqueous humus. It is a watery fluid that is present in the area between the lens and the cornea. It is responsible for the nourishment of both the lens and the cornea. Vitreous humor. It is a semi-solid, transparent, jelly-like substance that covers the interior portion of the eye. It plays an important role in maintaining the shape of the eye and also cause ref- refraction of light before it reaches the retina. Organ system. A group of organs form the organ system and together they perform a particular function. The respiratory system. Our respiratory system consists of organs like trachea, bronchus, and lungs, which are responsible for exchange of air between the atmosphere and the blood. Let us see the organs of respiratory system in detail. The nose. We inhale air through nostrils, which lead into the nasal cavity. The inner surface of this cavity is lined with cilia and mucus producing cells, which make it sticky and moist. The cilia and the mucus trap dust and germs to prevent them from going deeper into the respiratory tract. The windpipe. After passing through the nasal cavity, the air enters into the pharynx. Then it goes into the trachea or the windpipe, which is an elastic tube extending down to the length of the neck and partly into the chest cavity. Between the pharynx and the trachea lies a small air passage known as voice box. The larynx has fold of tissues which vibrate with the passage of air to produce sound. Bronchi. The trachea divides in two branches called bronchi, singular branches. Each branches leads to a lung, where it divides and redivides to finally form air passage called bronchioles. Lungs. Lungs are the organs present in the chest cavity that allows our body to exchange gases. The lungs are two spongy elastic bags on each side of the thoracic cavity. Alveoli. Alveoli are tiny air sacs in the lungs that are located at the end of the bronchial tubes, which is microscopic in nature. It meant for the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Mechanism of breathing. Inspiration. The process of taking air into the lungs is called inspiration or inhalation. Expiration. The process of expelling air from the lungs is called expiration or exhalation. During the process of inhalation, the muscle of the diaphragm contracts. The diaphragm goes downwards. The ribs move upwards and outwards. The volume of the thoracic cavity increases. Air enters the lungs through the nose. During the process of exhalation, the muscles of the diaphragm relax. The diaphragm goes upwards. The ribs move downwards. The volume of the thoracic cavity decreases. Air goes out of the lungs through the nose. Homeostasis. Homeostasis is the property of human biological system where the self-regulating process tend to maintain the balance of the survival. The regulation takes place in different internal environment. Mammals are capable of maintaining constant body temperature despite the change in the external temperature. Diffusion. Diffusion is the movement of particles from an area of higher concentration to lower concentration. The overall effect is to equalize the concentration throughout the medium. Osmosis. Osmosis is the movement of solvent particles across a semi-permeable membrane from a dilute solution into a concentrated solution. The solvent moves to dilute the concentrated solution and equalize the concentration on both sides of the membrane. There are three types of solutions in which osmosis could vary. Isotonic. Here the concentration of external and internal solution of the organisms are the same. Hypertonic. Here the external solution concentration is less compared to the concentration of the inner solution of an organism. In this case, water will rush into the organism. Hypertonic. Here the external solution concentration is greater than the concentration of the inner solution of an organism. In this case, the water will rush out of the organism. Osmoregulation. Osmoregulation is a process by which an organism regulates the water balance in its body and maintains the homeostasis of the body. Organisms are Organisms are divided in two types based on osmoregulation. They are osmoconformers and osmoregulators. Osmoconformers. These organisms try to maintain the osmolality of their body matching with their surrounding. Most of the invertebrates, marine organisms are osmoconformers. Osmoregulators. These organisms maintain their internal osmolality, which can be extremely different from that of the surrounding environment through physiological process. Cellular respiration. Cellular respiration is the process by which organisms break down glucose into a form that the cells can use the energy. This energy is then made available to the living cells in the form of ATP. Cellular respiration takes place in the cytoplasm and the mitochondria of the cells. The cellular respiration is classified into two types. They are aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration. In this type of respiration, the food substances are completely oxidized into water and carbon dioxide with the release of energy. It requires atmospheric oxygen and all higher organisms respire aerobically. This reaction releases a large amount of energy. Glucose plus oxygen gives carbon dioxide plus water plus energy. Anaerobic respiration. In this type of respiration, partial oxidation of food takes place and the organism releases energy in the absence of oxygen. This type of respiration occurs in organisms like yeast, ethyl alcohol or lactic acid, and carbon dioxide are the byproducts of this process. This reaction releases very little energy because glucose is not completely oxidized. Differences between aerobic and anaerobic reaction. Aerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration takes place in the presence of oxygen. Aerobic respiration, the end product of aerobic respirations are carbon dioxide and water. Aerobic respiration is common in all higher plants and animals. Anaerobic respiration. Anaerobic respiration takes place in the absence of oxygen. The end product of anaerobic respirations are carbon dioxide and ethanol or lactic acid. Common in certain microorganisms. Anaerobic respiration is common in certain microorganisms and human muscle cell. Metabolism. Metabolism is the sum of chemical reaction by which the living organism sustain their life. Metabolism consists of anabolism, the building up of substance, and catabolism, the breakdown of substance. Anabolism. Anabolism or constructive metabolism is all about building and storing. It supports the growth of new cells, the maintenance of body tissue, and the storage of energy for use in the future. During anabolism, small molecules are changed into larger, more complex molecules or carbohydrates, protein, and fat. Example, glucose is changed into glycogen and other sugars. Amino acids changed into enzymes, hormones, and proteins. Fatty acids changed into cholesterol and other steroids. Catabolism. Catabolism or destructive metabolism is the process that produces the energy required for all activity in the cell. In this process, cells break down large molecules to release energy. This energy release provides fuel for anabolism. Heat heats the body and enables the muscles to contract and the body to move. Example, carbohydrates break down into glucose. Glucose break down into carbon dioxide, water and heat. Protein break down into amino acids. The repeated anabolism and catabolism reactions maintain the homeostatic condition in the organism. Points to remember. Cell is the basic structural and functional unit of living organism. All living organisms are made up of cells. Cells vary in shapes and size. The size of the cell is measured in micrometers. Cells are combined together to form tissues. The tissues are combined together to form organs. Many organs are combined together to form organ system. The sense organ eye is concerned with vision. Respiration is the process in which energy is released while food is oxidized. It consists of external respiration and internal respiration. There are two types of respiration depending upon the availability of oxygen. They are aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. Selective permeability of plasma membrane enables the cell to maintain homeostasis. Diffusion involves movement of molecules from the region of their higher concentration to the region of their lower concentration, which can occur without a semi-permeable membrane. Osmosis involves movement of solvent molecules from the region of their higher concentrations to the region of their lower concentration, which can take place through a semi-permeable membrane. Homeostasis is the maintenance of a constant internal environment of the body. Metabolism involves release and utilization of energy or energy exchange within the organism. It can be divided into two categories, namely anabolism and catabolism. The repeated anabolic and catabolic reactions in the metabolic process maintain the homeostatic condition of the body. Thank you.